Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and we've got a surprise should you pull video here. I was actually live streaming the Leonora stuff tonight, and there is a mystery campaign banner that drops on the 9th. We're actually going to get it on the night of the 8th, so it's only like 3 days away. And the game has basically leaked what the characters are going to be. So this is going to be a triple banner, and I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back here, because when I was doing my initial poll planning video, I did say Laguna was a possibility to be on here, and sure enough, here he is. So the clues here are very obvious. We go into the notices, and Laguna has already been given a rework. So like right now, you can log into the game, and Laguna has a rework. And Laguna should be getting his FR Echo here. So Laguna, so what's crazy is these campaign banners, these triple banners, typically they're not giving us like new FR characters. It's usually 3 reruns. But Laguna should be getting, he's reworked now, and then he's getting his FR on here. And then to know the other characters, and this is a common thing you can do, I've talked about this before, but when you go into quests or missions, sometimes characters will be glowing as boosted, or you can actually pick up their artifacts in the shop, right? So if you go into quest mode, people in my chat noticed some characters were glowing. They weren't ×2, but they're glowing, because they don't actually go ×2 until their banner is up. But they were still glowing as boosted characters. But if we go to the event tab here, it's very obvious because we go into the token challenge. And you can only get artifacts for like event characters, right? So we go in here, it's a big exchange shop. There's a lot in here. But we go down to the artifacts and we got all 3 of them right here. We've got Vice, and we've got Laguna getting a rework with FR, and then we got Oron, right? So I'm going to do a should you poll on this, and this is kind of crazy. So the thing is for veterans, like you skip because you probably have these characters if you wanted them, right? Now for a newer player, I am going to say there is a ton of value here, right? Because, Vice and Oron not getting reworks doesn't matter. They're insanely good. So if you're not familiar with Vice and Oron, you can watch my newest character guides on them, and they're going to look exactly like that. And Vice and Oron fill 2 very important roles of types of characters you want in your box. So Vice is a very good off-turn damage dealer. Now we do have Sisney coming, who is competing for that and is also very good. But Vice adds true HP damage, and it scales with FR. So Vice is one of the hands-down best off-turn damage dealers in the game. So if you're lacking off-turn, and for those of you that are newer players and don't know what I mean by off-turn, these are characters that attack a lot outside of their own turn. So what Vice is going to be doing when he has a certain buff up, when your characters attack, he jumps in and attacks after your characters do. So he basically steals free attacks every time you do attacks. This is abusable when you're doing like BT phases or using speedy characters and things like that. Oron is a tank. And it's kind of funny because when I was doing my monthly should you poll, I had said there was a campaign banner with Beatrix, and I said, yeah, if you're looking for a tank, Beatrix is kind of what you would want to summon on. Well, we had this unknown tank kind of hiding, in the shadows, and that's Oron. And Oron, I would say, exclusively in the tank role, I actually do like him probably better than Beatrix as, like, when I'm thinking in terms of just tank. But Beatrix is a fantastic character. I think I like her overall as a better character. But if you're looking just specifically for a tank, I think Oron feels a little safer in some ways. He's gonna soak in all the damage. He will take some HP damage, but he counter heals himself back, and can do a lot of damage over time with counters. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind is Gladio is looming. Like, Gladio is going to be coming. I expect him to be announced in the next community stream, probably. I think he's that close. Gladio probably will be, for sure, probably at least a top 3 tank in the game. Maybe the best, though. We'll have to look at his rework. So if you're content waiting on tanks till Gladio, you definitely could. But if you want a tank now, I mean, Oron is a really good pickup, right? And then we've got Laguna, with his rework and his FR, right? Now, his FR condition doesn't seem the craziest to me, but you don't have to lead with his FR, right? It's like 40% if the enemies are fully debuffed and you take an action, and then it's another 40% if you deal AoE brave damage. It can be very easy conditions to meet, but if you, accidentally run single target damage dealers, you might miss out on some damage there, right? But there's so many other FRs you could lead with, you wouldn't have to lead with him. But if you're not familiar with Laguna, he is a big time debuffing character, And he has a very unique thing, which is a gold frame debuff that makes it so anytime you deal HP damage, he basically deals extra trap damage. It's very abusable. It's a short turn count of 4. But the thing is if you're stealing a lot of turns, if you're doing a BT phase, the enemies are just going to sit on that, right? It's just going to sit on it, and you're going to deal a lot of damage. And with his rework, he's getting a lot of increased damage on his trap, which I think could be really nice. And then his LD, when you use that, he gets extra follow-up LD attacks on his attacks. So on turn, he's going to be attacking, getting the extra LD follow-up attack, and then getting the trap damage. It's going to be solid. I don't know that he's going to be like a top tier damage dealer, but he's really a utility debuff type character, and you're getting off turn with it, right? So you could do some nasty things where you run like double off turn. So let's say you run Vice and Laguna on the same team, sandwich, like a really good DPS between them. And here's where you could get away. So this team comp, if you did, say, Vice and Laguna in a DPS, you'd be saying, well, you're really lacking support. Well, you don't have to have support, but here's something sneaky you can do. Just run one of these really good damage-dealing supports. So what if your team build was Laguna, Vice, and say Ignis, right? So you got Ignis there in the middle. He can force charge for you. He can have his BT effect up, do an insane burst phase. Can you imagine Ignis swinging into Laguna's gold debuff, getting trap damage, getting Vice follow-up on the other side, and then he's doing his own clarity follow-up? Like, you're going to get a lot of damage. And, a lot of players already have, like, Kadash, who's going to do better off-turn damage. But, like, when you look at this banner as a whole, right, these 3 characters, if you're a pretty fresh account, I think I could recommend actually pulling here, because you're filling really needed roles that you need to have. So if you're missing off-turn or tanks, I do think it could be a good idea to jump in here. Now, it's been a very loaded month. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of things I've been kind of recommending that you can summon on. This is just going to be a free, easy skip for veterans that have them. The thing I think that's exciting here is these characters are all getting Force 50, right? And I was just crying because my Force Stones are just dying right now. But luckily, the new co-op shop has a lot of them. So I think I do want to Force 50 Vice and Oron. I don't know that I'd recommend every player do that. I think you really want to, like, if you're struggling with Force Stones, which I already am, and I had a lot, you do want to focus more on maybe supports. But these are just too valuable of characters. I'm going to use these characters a lot. So I think I do want to Force 50 them. So anyways, guys, let me know if you're going to pull or not. For me, it's a skip because I already have these characters. Laguna, I suppose, I guess I'm going to take it as FR, have another FR character. Okay. Let me go back on this. If you are a player, there's one really important thing I forgot to mention here. Laguna is a previous BT character, right? And he was very good on his BT. So a lot of veterans did get him and green him, and I am one of those. So if you have his BT greened, I do think you should ticket his FR, because that's just a really nice free upgrade to a character you've already invested in. Now, if you've already invested in Laguna, I don't think Laguna alone is a must pull. But comboed with Vice and Oron, I think this is a really nice, juicy banner you could pull on. So anyways, let me know if you guys are going to pull or not. I am going to get Laguna's FR because I've already greened him. It's going to be totally worth it. Let me know what you're going to do. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.